Hey, what's going on YouTube? Or Storm here with another discussion topic today. Today I'm going to talk about is Apoqliphort Towers quickly becoming the new Djinn. Now what this means is if you played last format before Djinn was obviously firmly placed on the forbidden list by Konami, you probably were having to run subpar cards just to get Djinn off the field. If you read a card like Book of Eclipse, that card is not very good. But the fact that it's non-targeting removal for turning the Djinn lock off, it became a legal card. It became an actual meta card. If you read Book of Eclipse, it's a very subpar card. And people are running everything from Exile Force to Bull Blader. I still have a playset of Bull Bladers in my junk tins. That kind of gives you an idea like what the Djinn lock was doing. The Djinn lock's presence was becoming, people. I think that's when cards like Djinn and Floodgate should be hit, is when people are having to run suboptimal cards to get them off the field. And that's the problem with Djinn. Now, if you look at Towers Turbo, Cliffords were hit on the April 2015 ban list quite extensively, and they needed to be. Sacrifice is one of the most overpowered cards in any archetype has ever been given. It has 4 really good effects. It needed to go to 1. Scout was semi-limited. I was like, okay, that's probably enough. And also the fact that Cliffords are they're probably not going to get a ton of support after Secrets of Eternity. So with that in mind, now this card especially because now that Clash Rebellions has come out and it's fully legal, Wavering Eyes is a card that Cliffort players are using to turbo towers. And this deck's creation has literally caused cards such as Into the Void, I think, to go up to $30-something or more. Cards like, I think Scouts were kind of stabilizing at about 6, now they're 10. Super Summoners Arts are going up. Stealths are going up because the new Cliffort decks run Stealth and not Disc. But my basic point is, if Towers Turbo becomes prevalent, we could have a format where people have to run suboptimal cards in order to counter Towers. A card like Moonmirror Shield is not a bad card, but would you run it if it wouldn't get you over Towers in most of your decks? Probably not. Cards like number 52 Diamond Crab King, people literally run this card just to get over Towers, and that's a pretty incredible thing that people would run a card like that. Like, I think Crab King is not a bad card per se. I just think suboptimal is a very good word. I think in a pool full of rank 4s, you should not have to run one particular card just because another card exists. Now, I will say the biggest difference between Djinn and Towers is that Towers has quite a few more outs because of cards like Honest existing. The fact that you can just simply make a monster that's bigger than 3k and get over it. But the fact is, Towers is sort of like what in Cyber Dragon Infinity is if you played the decks that spam that card. Getting over 1 Towers is not that problematic. Getting over the second one, most of us don't run enough outs to get over a second Towers. And that's honestly, I think, the biggest problem with Towers Turbo and the deck's design. I don't think it's so much Wavering Eyes, which actually made the deck that much faster. It's the fact that you can run outs to get over the first Towers pretty easily. The second one, not so much. And that's my biggest thing why I think the comparison is very valid. It's like, I don't like cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you either have the outs or you don't. I don't know if those things are completely healthy for the game. I think a card like Towers and Towers Turbo, respectively, is not really good for the game. Now, we don't know as far as we gotta look at what could happen in the future to these Tower Turbo decks. Cliffords are probably one of the decks that I think are going to perform very well at Worlds, which is coming up pretty soon. I think if you look at the Worlds ban list, you look at what's legal. Towers Turbo itself, because Wavering Eyes is illegal at Worlds, might not top, but Cliffords are going to perform very well because the deck that has the other deck that's going to be the best with the most legal support is Satellar Knights. Now, Satellar Knights obviously can run cards like Honest, cards like Excalibur, and make them pretty regularly. So I think as far as getting over Towers, typically Satellar Knights are going to have the outs. But the other problem is that Lose a Turn and these Floodgates that Cliffords typically run just crap on Satellar Knights. So in summary, I think this could happen. I think that until Konami might have to intervene and hit Cliffords again because they created a pretty massive monster in Next Challengers. And sometimes, you hit a deck and you think, okay, it's better, but not so much. especially when you have a deck that is, you can call it cancerous, whatever you want, as Towers Turbo is. I feel like the deck is just not going to really go away anytime soon. So could we see maybe Towers hit to 1? Could we see maybe Stealth hit? I think so, because those decks have had their time. The deck has been good since it came out, and it's not on the realm of possibility that we could see Konami hitting Qliphorts more, simply because they come back and say our original hits aren't enough. And that happens. You can look at Infernities. Konami hit Infernities twice and then hit them again when they hit Archfiend to 1 because the deck topped at Worlds. We could see a similar thing happen with Qliphorts. But anyway, guys, as always, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it when people watch my videos. Tune in on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays for more Yugioh content. And if you like what you saw in this video, please subscribe. This is Storm signing out.